So, even though this is just a talk about the words that we're working with, today was kind of crazy, so we'll do a little sort of energy opening, and we will invite in the ultraviolet dragon beings to draw a flaming circle of ultraviolet flame around us as we call in our soul's guidance system and our beings. And we remember that we are lifted and enlightened, healed and forgiven, lifted and enlightened, healed and forgiven. Yalahatayahun yashan yalatayahum bahan yalashuman yalahatayahun an yalatayahum an yalatashin yalatakun yalahan yalahan an yalatayahum bangan yalayashum man yalayahum ban yalatayahum man yalawayahum yay Anyalayahum yaya gungan yalatayam bombashin gan yalatayahun shumban yayayay Anyalalum bagashnyata umba anyalatay shumbain gan yakhandia shumban yalatayahum ban yalatay shum in yalatayah kaishu pan yalatayam Anyalataya humbaya humbaya shingan ya ataya shumban yalataya shumban ya yakhda shumma hin yalataya hunka shumba haya la hamba hashan yalataya mahan yashindia hin yalataya man yalataya haya hum malahum man yala shumba han yashindia la itaya humba in yalataya mahanga shinyataya humbaya handa an yalataya humbaya yondo ay andaya humbaya hindo shun ay humbay an yalataya humbaya humbay So let's see, it's Friday. Okay, so take a deep breath in and you can go ahead and release your day. I got really stuck today, and I was aware that I was stuck, and I was sitting here and I was trying to start this live, and then it wasn't happening, and then it wasn't happening, and sitting here thinking about where the heck did perfectionism come from, and why do we waste our time, and sort of why do we bother, and it's really goes to like what are we it's like we're trying to prove, what are we trying to prove, right? And what are we trying to prove to ourselves? So, and that goes with the word from yesterday, which was proof. So that's what we're going to be talking about, and all of the things that come up with that. And if anybody wants to comment because you did, maybe you went through the meditation, or if you have any comments about it, go ahead and we can read them. But I'm going to introduce myself really quick. So, I am Galactic Ashley, and I channel divine guidance for starseeds, connecting them to their star families and galactic lineages. And I use light language frequencies and work with your cosmic connections to facilitate high frequency healing transmissions and encoded activations. So what we're talking about today is that I am offering a free 30-day Galactic Guided experience / journey. And what I'm doing is every other day is I'm doing less than an hour, 20 minutes to however long it goes, of something called Contemplation. So basically every day, every other day, there will be a word. And the idea is that you can go to my YouTube channel. So if you just go to YouTube and search for Galactic Ashley, you will find me, or you can go ahead and go to my Instagram page, and there's a million link in bio options, and you can find it. And there is a meditation to start with, and you can do it, or you can do your own meditation, and then there's a channeling / guided experience for you to go into feeling what that word is to you. And what I have discovered with my galactic family and through my own processes is that we basically, our language is really a language of separation, and it's based on a lot of linear thought. So we are limited. I'm talking about Western languages, so I'm not talking about indigenous languages, specifically English and Spanish and a lot of the Western languages. It's very linear, and so we're limited in the way that we think based on the language that we use. So an example is when I was in the Peace Corps in Paraguay, they speak Guarani, and they don't really have a future tense. And I actually want to do some research on this because I have the feeling that when they were colonized, they actually added a future tense, but it's just like tomorrow. Like there's not like you don't really, it's just one, you put TA at the end of the word, and it just means the future, like sometime in the future, and it's not complicated. So other than that, everything else is in the present tense, present moment, and the Hopi similar as well. So the example is if you have somebody that speaks English and you are with somebody from the Hopi tribe, if you're looking at a wave, we would say, oh, look, there's a wave, because we are expecting another wave to come. And they would say, the ocean is waving, right? Because you are not expecting another wave after that wave. You're completely in the moment experiencing that wave, and then you are open to the possibility, which who knows what comes after that wave, if there even is an after. So that is one part of this. And the other part of this is that we essentially take our experiences, and if every word is a cup and that cup is empty, we take all of our experiences and our feelings and all of these attachments, and we fill that cup up with all of our experiences. So then what happens is when we go to manifest or to co-create something with the universe, within our subconscious, we have all of these attachments and feelings to this word, which we are trying to use, like abundance or money or like I'm just picking very obvious things. If you have feelings about money that you're not aware of, and it's in your subconscious, because we're always frequency matching, so when you're sending out a desire into the universe, because this is how we create, is it's based on desire, And it's based on desire, which is fascinating because the feminine principle is what desires in order to receive, and it's the masculine that gives, right? But what we're doing is we are desiring, and so it's that energy that goes out into the quantum field, and it tries to anchor itself in there. But at the same time, everything from our subconscious is also frequency matching with that, because anytime we do anything, it's our entire, we can't just say, oh, it's only the good stuff. All this other stuff, that doesn't go into anything I'm trying to co-create. And so what we want to do, and the dragon beings are always talking about this, is what we want to do is we want to work in our like we want to work with our subconscious, and we want to kind of dig around in there and heal. And so this is a really, I think it's fun. This is a really fun way to do that. So what so today I'm like stuck in this loop thinking about proof and proving and what am I doing. It's like I'm aware I'm stuck in the loop, and I start thinking about perfectionism. And to me, perfectionism really comes from us trying to prove to ourselves that we are worthy enough, or we're proving that we're actually doing it, whatever the thing is that we're doing, because we have to present ourselves in a certain way. We want people to perceive us in a certain way, and instead of just being. And so we become not really energetically efficient, and this is part of the reason why we're doing these days of contemplation after these words, is because the words are kind of, I was surprised, because after the first day, I'm releasing the third day either tonight or tomorrow, so we're only 3 days in. So if you're new, go ahead and join us. It's free. You can just use it on your own time, and the longer meditation is actually set up so that you can pick any word you want. You don't have to go through one of the experiences. But the idea is I really feel like the word, right? We're talking about language. The word has been divorced from the divine, and we have destroyed this, our most precious gift. And we've basically, and I'm saying we like the collective of humanity, right? We have taken the power of creation and used it to destroy and to harm, right? This is why we have so many negative, I literally mean negative words that we have created. Any derogatory term, any negative word like that, those come from us creating them in order to specifically harm another person and specifically dehumanize them, because we feel on some level that it's not deserve, entitlement, that we are entitled to something and someone else is less than. So why is this a big deal? It's a big deal because we as a human race made a contract. The human collective, from the beginning of this planet, when we started incarnating into these humanoid type beings, we made a contract that said that we would use our voices, because there were animals. The animal collective was here before we were, and they chose not to. They very specifically chose not to use their voices. I mean, they communicate with each other, but we were going to communicate with our voices. And so what happens is that we're taking this gift. Remember, in the beginning there was the word, right? And we're not linking this to religion specifically, but I did go to Catholic school. So that's what came up when I was thinking about this, is In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, right? And so let's just God is going to be one of these 30 words too. I had a really hard time with God, and I really appreciated when I was reading metaphysical authors who would take the time to explain what God meant to them whenever they were writing a book in the first part of the book when they're talking about themselves, because God's a big deal. So go ahead and use source or divine, but essentially we came here. We're having this experience, which most people don't necessarily love it all of the time because there is pain and there's a lot of challenges here, which doesn't always make it fun. And then on top of that, some people actually have contracts, soul contracts, where they're supposed to come here and experience joy. And those people are so important, especially right now, right? Because we're experiencing extreme polarities and going through massive changes, and some of you are here to experience joy. And so if you ever shut your joy down because you're around someone that's sad, please don't do that, because joy is laughter that shifts energy, even if that person's not really happy that you are happy in that moment. At least on an energetic level, you are shifting energy. And it's not that you're shifting it for them, but you are being your authentic self. And anytime we are our authentic self, when we are out in the world doing regular things, other energy fields and systems recognize that, even if the person is not conscious of you. This is what it means to be a healer. It's not like you all need to have a placard up outside of your house or put a psychic neon sign up. We are all healers, and we heal not because the ego heals, but because the dragon beings always say, as I heal, you heal. As you heal, I heal. For I am you, and you are me, and we are one. Right? So this is what we're doing: is we are healing, and this is how the morphogenic field shifts around us, and it's really important. And it's not going to take. Every single person on this planet doesn't need to wake up in order for that to happen. There will be a critical point where there will be enough, and it will be enough for the earth and enough for us to anchor in these new frequencies into the planet. Okay, so back to in the beginning was the Word. Each time we take a breath, we basically breathe in source. We breathe in our connection to the one, to the unity consciousness, and we bring it all the way down into our system, and we embody that. And then the air returns, and then it goes over our vocal cords, and then we make these sounds. So if I had a wish, a hope, right? Because we all hopefulness is really good. The beings talk about that a lot too. If I had a hope, it would be for all of us to remember that we are divine instruments, and the reason why the Word is so important is because we are here to manifest the Word through the human body, through embodiment. We co-create with this language that was gifted to us. And so it is so beneficial to pay attention to the words that you are using and to understand what they mean to you, because as you are on your ascension process, wherever you are, it's not a race. It definitely lasts beyond this lifetime. You will hit points where you become more and more aware of the language that you're using, and you will feel the responsibility and I don't want to say the weight, but the power that is in your words and how they can be used, and the way that you speak and the way that you use your words. So here, this is what I was thinking about last night, is what if you gifted yourself with the time of reflection? So that's what this contemplation section is for, and that I encourage all of you to do on your kind of own time, is so what if you gifted yourself with the time of reflection or contemplation, so that you could honor the word, the vibrations, and the source intelligence that is literally infused with us. And this is the power of the creation code. So take into consideration how the divine frequencies and creation codes of words, like, would you, okay, sorry. So when you're thinking about your words, would you, how would your words reverberate through the universe, and how your words would impact all of the people, all the living energy? And that when we speak, when we get to, it's for, I believe that this is for everyone, but when we get to certain points, we need to understand that when we voice something, and also this was in the introductory part 1 section on my YouTube channel, there's a whole thing that gets into some science where even your thoughts are coming from the same part of your brain that your words are, and the shape is the same. They've measured the shape of it, and it is the same. And that is fascinating, right? So when we're thinking about thoughts and we're thinking about words that we make external and put back in the air around us, same thing. But it's so important that when you make a sound, that essentially you are making music, hopefully, or not, and putting those sounds in the air, and it doesn't just disappear. Like, it doesn't just go away. It keeps on it keeps on going, right? And so we're responsible, because every sound that we make has a feeling, has a thought, has something attached to it, and we're responsible for all of this that we're just putting out there. And and we have created a lot of, like, truly evil words too. So what I do want to make clear is that this, going through these words every other day or through the next 30 days or however long that you do it, it's not about spiritual bypassing. So we're not going, oh, I'm not going to use that word. I'm only going to use these really positive words, and then I'm going to manifest with them. So I'm going to ignore all of those words, because, my friends, the words that we're looking at in here, we've done belief, we've done proof, and I can tell you that mother, father, woman, and, like, man are going to be some of those. These are regular words, and some of these words will animate people like crazy. So anytime that you are out there doing whatever it is that you are doing, if you get animated and like on fire, or you feel argumentative, or you totally shut down, there is some energy in there that is inviting you in to go and look at it. And that is I don't necessarily love the experience, but these are the gifts of, like, hey, there's something there. How about you check it out? Right? Rather than telling other people, like our family or our friends or strangers, don't use that word around me, right? And I'm just talking regular words. Obviously, derogatory words, not okay. But and I understand that in a lot of transgender, right, like, use the right pronoun, all those, that's fine. But a lot of people, and I'm sure you might be one of them, or you've done this. And there are times that when you're in trauma, right, like it's just happened, you're still healing, you can ask your close friends to maybe not talk about that right now, or to say certain words because they're triggering. But at some point, we're here to bring divine neutrality to the words, but what we're really doing is we're bringing the divine neutrality to us within ourselves. That way, if somebody uses any word that normally animates you, you aren't triggered by it because you understand that it really doesn't have anything to do with you. Most people are projecting their stuff. I like to call it a vomit projectiling their projections all over you. They're vomiting their projections. It's projectile vomiting projections all over the place. And it's also simultaneously mirroring a couple of things to you. And so the beauty of challenging family members is that when you are on your path, your spiritual path, they are really good calibration systems to see how well you do when you're around them. It's kind of like the monk that goes into Times Square to meditate and go into a really deep space because they've gotten good at it, like they're becoming spiritual masters. So we become spiritual masters. Well, one, we are self-mastered, we are divine, we are sovereign, and we are free. We are free from the influence of others. So we become self-mastered when we are able to take responsibility for ourselves. Don't ask other people that they have to change their whole life, flip it upside down, or they can't use these words. You can't do that when you're around me. You can't do this when you're around me. Because we are masters of our universe, and we have good boundaries, and we are able to hold heart coherency even when we are with when we are around other discordant or quote-unquote lower vibrational energies. We don't get sucked down with it, but we don't necessarily have to be the resonating one. It's not necessarily our responsibility to be the one grandfather clock that's ticking appropriately so that all of the other ones can phase match and come into resonance with us. But what we can do is we can hold our space. We can feel those other vibrations that are outside of our home frequency or that are outside of our authentic self, recognize them for what they are, identify them, discernment, and then let it go, right? Because we do need to feel them or know them, or however your higher sensory perceptions work. So that's important. And so looking at these words like this has just really been fascinating for me. So the other thing is that hold on. Okay, so this will be a fun thing that you can do if anybody wants. Okay, so one, start paying attention to your own language. Remember, we are practicing compassionate observation 24/7 all the time. If you're having self-critical thoughts, go ahead and let them go. Don't self-criticize your critical thoughts. I'm good at doing stuff like that. I am upset that I'm upset because I know that I don't need to be upset about this thing, right? So I can be critical about my critical thoughts that are criticizing myself, right? So go ahead and watch your language and just observe it, right? Think about what you are saying. Like, how do you describe yourself to other people? And we're going beyond inner thoughts here, but that's always really good too. So words matter because they are filled with the subconscious architectural elements that are constructing our universe. I believe that every word in and unto itself is its own universe. That's how powerful they are. And so how do you, like if somebody came up to you and said, oh, who are you? And they ask you about your life, how do you explain yourself? What kind of language do you use? Because, and then observe this in other people, right? One of those might be easier, or both might be easy. Maybe both are hard. But it's fun to listen to the language that people use, because the language becomes the framework of their universe, how they see themselves, the messages that their subconscious is sending to them and to everyone around them. So how do you phrase your architectural and design elements? How do you design your life through the power of your words? That's funny. Sorry, we were thinking about proof, and so it's like I just wrote that the language is in the proof is in the language. Har har har. Okay, so I have to take a side track. So the first day we looked at the word believe, which is really funny because that word is basically is an opinion or conviction, a belief, like the belief that the earth is flat or something. But it's confidence in the truth or existence of something that's not immediately susceptible to proof, right? And then what do we spend all of our time doing? We try and find proof, but for ourselves, not even for that argument or for whatever the belief is, but we're going around trying to find proof to back up our beliefs. But the belief in and of itself doesn't need proof in order to believe it. So that's funny to me. I mean, not really funny, haha, right? But why do we seek proof? We seek proof because we are lacking faith in ourselves. We're trying to defend something. We grew up raised by narcissists or really lovely lawyers that were constantly grilling us. So we were always on the defense, right? And if you grew up like that, or if you didn't have a voice, the moments that you do get your voice are the moments that you might assume that everybody is attacking you, or you go on you just become defensive because you're trying to prove that you deserve to be here, that you are worthy, that you are okay. And we're constantly, so I would also think about like when and where are you trying to find proof? So the beings also say validation is a valuable tool. And when they say that, they're specifically referring to when somebody is opening to, like they're practicing psychic development or something about they're developing their relationship with their beings, and these are about signs and synchronicities, right? So those are the types of things where validations, but validation is a valuable tool. It is not necessary. You can't become dependent on it. And we definitely I would also suggest, what I'm getting right now is anytime you feel a very strong need for something like knowledge or proof or the known, or like I need to know, whatever the need is, generally that is the thing that we need to loosen our grip up on. That might be an area where there is what do you call it? Starts with an R. Resistance, where there's resistance, right? Because the beings always say, when you let go of the need to know, you will be able to actually invite in knowledge that you can integrate into your system so that it becomes wisdom. The other one is when you let go, and this is my favorite. This was like I remember when they came in and they said this. It was a lot of years ago. I almost like fell over. They said, when you let go of the need to be heard, you will truly be heard. And this goes back to proof, right? Like, we're proving ourselves a lot of times through language, through communication, through our voice. If anybody has had trauma, you will over-explain yourself. You will give too much information. Totally guilty of all of these things. You will over-give information because you're trying to be overly honest and overly way too much information that isn't necessarily needed. And you might be trying to defend yourself, or you like need to be heard, because what happens is when you come out of like adolescence, or you leave the house when you're 18, all of a sudden you're talking to people and you have a voice and you use it, but it's coming from trauma, so it's not a balanced voice. And again, we just talked about this. It's a gift from the divine, right? And if you don't happen to have a voice in this lifetime, it is okay. That's why there's sign language. It's still communication. It's still language. But when we are able to communicate with our voice, with sound, with these frequencies, with these vibrations, we need to be able to listen. So this is why the ears and the throat, ear, nose, and throat, this is all connected still to the throat chakra and the higher heart and the occipital, the mouth of dreams, mouth of God, well of dreams, occipital lobe. These are all connected, the jaw, right? So we need to be in balance, because we sometimes we're meant to listen, and that is it. We're meant to listen and witness, and we're not meant to speak. But if you're just speaking all the time because you still have some healing to do, or you're just not listening, or whatever it is, when you develop your ability to listen deeply, the way that you are able to speak will shift dramatically, and you'll feel less pressure to sort of blurt things out, even if you're diagnosed with like ADHD or something like that. It becomes easier. You won't forget. You know that you'll know the right thing to say the moment that you need to say it. So we're paying attention to the language that we're using and that the people around us are using. Because healing vocabulary is a requirement, is necessary as we go through this process. I do think, and maybe we'll get there later, that there are some words that we could just totally toss out of our vocabulary. I'm not talking about the derogatory ones. I'm talking about the word that we're gonna do tomorrow. Should be chucked out of the language. So they basically explained it like we're basically co-creating. We are building the foundation and the structures of our lives based on wounded words. So words that have wounds. It's almost like building a home and doing the framing with all boards that are split, or a lot of the boards that are split. Oh, this is, I have no idea how long it's been. This is the other thing that came through. So I'm really big on sovereignty. That is what we are here for. When we claim our sovereignty, everything shifts, and it's necessary for the ascension process. It's necessary for the new earth and for us to birth the new human and the new earth through our heart fields. We have to claim our sovereignty. So think about this. And this is what came through last night. So I kept on hearing diction, detail, diction and detail, diction and detail. And I was like, oh man, I feel like I'm in AP English in high school. So diction, it's diction, imagery, details, language, and syntax. Basically, it's the writer's everything. But we're going to focus on diction. So it's a writer, this is the writer's elements of style, and by analyzing and interpreting them together, it helps the audience or the reader to enter in and to understand / navigate the atmosphere, right? So what we connected was, I'm connecting the atmosphere to our aura, and we're going to consider that we are all writers, right? Because what do we live in? We live in a hologram. What does a hologram mean? It means whole, hollow, I think it's Greek, and gram, to write. So we are writing the whole. That is what we're doing all the time, is we are writing the whole, right? And we are using the gift of language, this vibration, because this is where our emotions and our thoughts project from this planetary body out into the universe to anchor into the quantum field so that we can co-create. We magnetize it to us. We're not running energy anymore where we co-create something, we do X, Y, and Z and it equals this, and we're on this linear timeline and we go to it. We do need to take some action. So I am definitely not saying you sit there and you go, and then you manifest something. There is some inspirited action that needs to happen, but it's very much based on creativity, because we are the creators and the created one. But creativity is sparked by, again, the desire. So you must have this desire. Desire is the key code to access the quantum field. And it's not just like fake feel it. I mean, there's passion, there is a deep longing. Like if you don't have to be an artist, but if you are an artist, you know what this is. It's like you have to create. And so when you send that desire out into the universe, what you are getting from the quantum field and from source returned back to you is an inspiration and an idea that is coming to you because you are the person who can embody it and bring it through you and bring it in to manifest it, right? Because that is an action of being in between the manifest and the unmanifest, right? You have a desire, unmanifest, there is nothing, right? 0 point field, nothing. That desire goes out, it goes into the quantum field, you get creative inspiration back. Now the energy is there and you can bring it through you, and then you manifest, right? So it goes from no thing to something, and it's the desire that does that. So I forgot what I was talking about. That's funny. We were talking about diction, detail, language. I got sidetracked. I got very excited. So, diction is word choice, right? That means that you're choosing a word. The word isn't chosen for you. You're picking it. So you are picking that vibration and choosing to use it. And this is important because sovereignty is so important. Sovereignty doesn't have to be some huge thing. The beings are constantly bringing information through that says just recognize the choices that you make in your day, and that's powerful, right? Because you are honoring the choice. I don't care if it's go to get a cup of coffee at I don't want to say Starbucks, at a local coffee brewing company in your town, or make it at home. That's not really, it could completely be a life-altering choice. We have no idea. But to celebrate these seemingly small choices, right? So when we speak and when we use words, every word that we put out into the universe is diction. It is chosen by us. Because we are creating a tone. And so by the language that we use creates the foundation and the structure of how we are architecting, how we are constructing our lives. And we are choosing these words, even if it's happening subconsciously, right? There is a point, especially, I want to say, I don't know, we'll say after 20, but maybe for some people it's a little bit later. We have to let go of blaming our parents for things, and depending on your circumstances and other traumas, we just have to take responsibility for the words that we use. So each time that we use these words, we're putting these vibrations out, and we're creating our universe. This is the framework, the vibrations, and this is our tone, right? It is not our true home frequency. So if you're ever in any of my courses or you do a session or something with me, we go into what our home frequency is, and that is our divine blueprint, the cosmic octave. That is our tone, our sound that is unique to us. It would be amazing if all of our languaging reflected our home frequency all of the time, but it doesn't, not yet. So when we're sending out this tone, what we're doing is we are creating it's just like a story when you're reading the story, right? And you're using the diction, the detail, and the rhythm, right? So we have a rhythm to the way that we speak. There are certain words that we use, and these are all the things to pay attention to, because what is tone, right? So one of the best, most conscious ways that we can engage and activate our sovereignty is through diction. So being very conscious of the words that you are choosing. So tone, what is tone? I thought this was awesome. So when we it is how we interpret the meaning kind of behind the words. And when we misinterpret tone, we misinterpret the meaning. So tone is, okay, so in writing, it's the atmosphere or the ambiance of a place. I'm connecting that to our auric field, the environment, right? Like to the energy field. And in photography, it's a particular quality of a hue or a tint or a color. So it has to do with strength of light, right? I like that. I liked that too. And then also, tone also has to do with when we tone our muscles. So in photography or in creative arts, tone is about the strength and or quality of light and color. When we're toning muscles, we tone up. Again, it's about strengthening the body. And in physiology, it's the normal level of activity in a nerve fiber. So, for example, the vagal tone. So, we're giving strength to the body, we're giving strength to light. It is the energy behind the communication, and it's what lets you communicate the atmosphere and the environment. So each time you're communicating, even though you're communicating about something else, your words are sending out the vibration about your true tone, like your atmospheric vibration, your auric field, even when you are in your subconscious and you don't know. That's why we are working with these words, right? So proof, belief, like these are really big words, and when we really look at them and allow ourselves without judgment to start looking at what we believe in and where those beliefs come from, who are we asking to prove themselves to us? Who are we trying to prove ourselves to? Do we need proof? Is what if we can't prove something? Are you going to fall to pieces? Are you willing to go into the unknown because your body, your physical structure, your skeletal system says it is okay to go into the unknown because you've been working with your feminine principle and connected it to these solar frequencies that are here, and you're like, I trust my embodied feminine principle because I know that she is everything and nothing, and she is in all spaces, and so I trust myself. I don't need proof. I release the need to prove, because source intelligence will never demand proof of your divinity, as it experiences and sees the divine in all manifestations. You are already seen. You need not demand to be known in a certain way as a product of those who came before you. You may dissolve the masks of your own making through the solvent of love. Divine infusion becomes illuminated without fear. You are the divine infusion. You may live freely beyond the need to prove. There is no such thing as proof. There is only observation. And we are here to be compassionate observers. And we are here to ask ourselves, where are we denying the divine within ourselves? Because if we can't see it in ourselves, it becomes very difficult to recognize it in someone else. And where are you denying the divine within you? And what are you trying to prove? These are big words, big words. If you are, one thing is, and I think there might be a couple more things to say, but what I do want to do is I want to talk about this really awesome course that is coming up. We're going to be working with the Galactics. It's called Meet the Galactics, and I'm really excited because it's brand new. It's 10 weeks, and I do sessions and a whole bunch of other stuff, but my favorite thing ever are these 10-week courses that I teach. I like to say facilitate, but if you can understand that a teacher is also a student, then in that respect I am a teacher. If that doesn't make sense to you, then I'm a facilitator, because sovereignty is really important. The age of the guru is dead. We are all here as our God selves, and we know better than anyone. And that is powerful. So that is that's my philosophy, right? So I work a lot with people who, if the fringes had fringes, that's where I am. And what I mean by that is a lot of us are here to to basically connect with that quantum field and to send the desire out and to heal some of these big lifetimes that the timelines and lifetimes that the earth is bringing up right now, to cultivate and to collect the beneficial parts of ancient healing tools, and to bring our multi-dimensional selves and experiences, galactic, celestial, whatever it is to you, or our future selves, and to merge those two things together to create a new modality. And that modality will be very unique to you, because we are all here. There's not one person that is designed the same way. And so the way that you perceive and receive information is beautiful in the way that you do, and it's unique to you, and that is your gift. So I celebrate the differences in people, because that is the uniqueness, and we are not all the same, right? And we are not equal in that way. We are equal because we are all valued, we are all divine, we are all love, but we are not equal in the other ways. We're all unequal, right? And the idea is that we're all unique, and we have to stop trying to be like everybody else and get into being your authentic self, and to trust that process. So this course starts next week, and it is called Meet the Galactics. And essentially, it's about community, connection, co-creation, and love. So if you come find out which star nations you resonate with the most. If you are adept with the cosmic beings and the galactics, this is definitely for you, because there's going to be activations and channeling, and through channeled transmission, sound, light language, and sacred geometries, we're going to open to experience wisdom from many unique star collectives and receive metaphysical tools for awakening our galactic potential, because we are cosmic citizens already. The earth is part of the star nations. We are galactic citizens, and that's a beautiful thing, and we need to own that, take responsibility for that, because we are sending these vibrations out that are affecting beyond here. And so you don't need to know. This would be great if you're like, I think I'm a star seed, I think I'm galactic, or I'm just really curious about that. And it's also for you if you love activations, want to hear light language, want to be in a group with a lot of other very open-minded, supportive, beautiful human beings. And this course basically helps those passionate about embodying your starseed consciousness, which allows for your true history to be recovered, making the paradigm shift to living as galactic beings in the here and now, and learn to engage and integrate galactic frequencies into aspects of your daily living. So what do I mean by your true history? Is that we are living within an earth system and an earth grid that has both organic and inorganic timelines. So when we pay attention to our language, these can point out to us programs, specific programs. Maybe it just came through your ancestors, maybe it came through a past lifetime, maybe it came through the parent, preacher, or the teacher. But we have a lot of our history has been hidden, and we have the divine birthright for that memory, to have those memories restored. This was part of the original, like the celestial DNA blueprint, which is within our DNA. That's why gold is such an important color. That's why the last solstice energy, and even the equinox, the fall equinox before that, it's all been leading up to these really powerful solar energies. We just had the Syrian corridor, and we're moving into the 8-8 lionscape. These are solar. It's all about gold, because we are needing to, and it's going to happen even if you want to resist. We're needing to bring these strands in and remember that we are truly God embodied here. We are the same as source. This is why our voice, like, we wouldn't be here. Everything that is designed in our experience, all of it is for our divine revelations. Every experience, no matter what it is, has been designed for your divine revelation. So we aren't going to come here without the tools for ascension, or to remember, or to realize that the veil is an illusion. And our language holds that within it. It's just that it's become linear and mental. And this is why I love light language so much, but I'm definitely not going to get into that. But we have the words that we use as are how we create our universe. And so we are God's voice. I mean, that's the thing. We, like, think of yourselves, just like think about this for the next couple of days. You are God, right? You are the voice of God, right? What would Mahana's snoring really really loud. Sorry, she likes this. Mahana, you are the voice of God, and that could shift everything for you. And it's not about judging yourself with the words, right? Because that's why we get to go on this healing journey together, is we're going to look at these words and really dig around in there and see what it all means. All right, let me double check on my notes. I think that might be all. I don't know if anybody has any questions, and I don't know when I get kicked off either. Yeah, so as we open and rise to language, rather than shirk from it or try to control it by exerting power over it. You've probably met people that are just very like, you can't use that word, we can't say that, you can't say this. I mean, in some cases, so when I was in grad school, I remember reading this one article. It was and I was using this term. It's called the other, right? So it's basically the minority, whoever the minority is in a particular situation, and it's an academic sort of acceptable term. But I was reading this like very intense like academic article, and it was about how othering the other is actually othering, which is not not necessarily, it's not a positive thing. You don't want to other somebody, right? So you can have discourse like that. That's wonderful because you're exploring language, but you know what I mean when there are people that are like, you almost can't have a conversation with them because everything that you say is the wrong thing. And I'm not talking about new terms for things. I'm just talking about regular speech. So when we stop trying to control the language or exert our power over it, because we want to flow too. We want the voice of God to come through us, right? And it's really our divine voice that we want activated. And so much of the reason why this is coming forward now at this time is because this next year through March next year, it's all about healing the feminine principle and the female voice, the female body. Everything having to do with the feminine principle has been erased. We don't know anything about anything. There's hardly any books. Like, it wasn't just Yeshua, like Mary. There's all kinds of things that were written by women that are gone. Women were the original code keepers, right? Because they're embodying these codes and all of this information. So we have to heal the feminine principle within us. And the feminine principle is in all of us, as is the masculine principle. And the messages that I've been getting is disclosure is not happening unless the feminine principle is healed. I mean, yeah, stuff has been happening, but if you notice, and it's not because it's mostly led by embodied men, but it is very masculine, the whole disclosure idea. In order for the toxic masculine to heal, the feminine principle, the feminine wound needs to be healed. So we're talking about voice right now. We're talking about words. We're talking about getting to a point where the words that you use match your feelings. Where you can really express yourself and you are using your sovereignty through diction, through your conscious word choice, so that you are creating your universe in alignment with your vibration, with your desires, so that you don't have tons and tons of unhealed wounds buried in your subconscious that is frequency matching, going out into the universe with your positive thoughts, and then they're basically canceling each other out. So anytime that you feel a lack of self-worth, ask yourself, 99.9% chance that is the feminine principle within you. That is the feminine wound. To look at it. And the beautiful thing about right now is that the energies are supporting this healing journey and healing process. So if you have a moment of lack of self-worth, lack of faith in yourself, feeling less than, shift your perspective and get out of the kooky thoughts that just go ahead and pile on top of that and go, I wonder, right? We turn our worry into wonder. I wonder if this is the feminine principle. I wonder if this is a feminine wound. And if this is where this is coming from, look at it. Because she just needs to be witnessed. This is a beautiful, beautiful thing about the feminine principle and about that divine feminine energy. They just need to be witnessed. So you can witness that part of yourself. Send love to her/you. We remember that love is forgiving. This is what forgiveness is. It's love that we are giving. And then witness that part of yourself and release it. So the words that we choose, they come through our voice, and we need to speak them. It's very powerful. And it's your body responds to your voice more than any other voice in the universe. Your physical body, it resonates with that. It knows it. It takes every thought in that you have, and it takes every word that you say. So when you use your own voice, that is the most powerful tool that you have to heal with. And I just want people to remember that. So if you've had any experiences in your life where you were told to shut up, you don't know, that's like, but what's amazing about that, because the universe is always telling you something. My whole life, you don't know, but I'm a channel, and it's not that I know, but it's like I also am clear, I have the clear knowing that matches with an empathy. That's like an innate thing, is there is a knowing, right? So it's hilarious that my whole life, you don't know, shut up, you're too much. All of those things, that's how the voices get shut down. I didn't have nuns, but a lot of, if you were in any sort of, I really hope not, but if you come from an indigenous background, and if anybody in your family ever went through the assimilation programs, and if that's not healed, that is definitely coming down your bloodlines, and you can absolutely heal that. And there's a lot of voicelessness out there, and restoring that and reclaiming that is just so powerful and amazing. And even if you at some point, my process was like this. I didn't have a voice, so I wrote. I did a lot of poetry, but I mostly focused on expressing myself and bringing my voice out into the world through photography. And when I got a master's in fine art, and I did multimedia installations, and so that's like an aspect of storytelling, and storytelling is extremely powerful. My point is you can start through creativity. If you have an extremely wounded voice, or you were told to be quiet, whatever it is, you can start with art or writing, and you don't need to show it to anybody, but eventually you're gonna need to use your voice and heal your throat. And also, when you're using language, pay attention to the actual tone of your throat. Like, do you get louder with certain words, or quieter, or do you start coughing or choking when you say something? That is your physical structures, your divine intelligence that is your body is telling you, hey, dis ease, right? Like, there is not a harmonic. We are not in complete harmony with this word. And so take it out and look at it. Just one word. It's a really awesome experience. So with that, I guess I'm going to stop, because once the train goes, I don't stop talking. I do want to invite you all to... Yeah, I have like so many pages, but there's more days of contemplation. There's 28 more. Woohoo! But I invite you all to go to my website and check out Meet the Galactics. It's going to be an experience. It's going to be big energy. If you're connected to dragons at all, I channel the dragon consciousness, and they've identified themselves as being across the beyond the threshold of creation, and they're the big space holders, and then the galactic beings come in, and we will bring them in. And so it's a really great opportunity to see who you resonate with. If you are at all interested in being able to discern between the different energies, this is perfect for that. If you are developing your channeling abilities or techniques, you want to practice discernment between these kinds of energies, then this is it. There's a lot of people from last year are coming back into this course because it's new, and so it's going to be like a big reunion. It's just big energy. Also, if you work with crystal skulls at all, we're going to be kind of including that, because I also have another website called crystalskullcouncil.com, and I just got a brand new skull that came today, and I did a unboxing live earlier today. So you can bring your skulls. I got this one from Carolyn and Einstein. And then, there's just, we got a lot of skulls. And they're powerful. They're not scary. They're just reminding us that we are connected to the crystalline consciousness and that we are record holders and keepers just like them, and we are the technology that we've been waiting for. So there, if you are into crystals and crystal skulls, we will be including them in this group as well. It starts next week. And the other thing that I've just added is that if you have a spouse or like a child and they would like to be in it, I have a family plan. So basically a family member is half off. So because the beings said that it's pretty rare, that's rare, and so that rarity needs to be honored. So when I do have some families that come, one in particular, I have a very special place in my heart. A mother brought both of her daughters, and it was incredible to watch and witness. And so same monetary exchange coming out of the same household. Let me see what else. I think that's all. If you're interested, the free 30 words, or what it is, it does have a title, but I've made it. It is sovereignty through the sound template of words. It just rolls right off the tongue. So the 30 Galactic Guided 30-day journey. It is on YouTube. So you can either go link in bio or just type in Galactic Ashley. So with that, I think I will close. And I will say thank you, thank you, thank you. And I love you, I love you, I love you. And thank you, everybody, for coming. Oh, oops, trying to use a mouse. That's so funny. Yes.